The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
Welcome to the Mangano Family Foundation Doing Good show. This is a program dedicated to highlighting positive stories in the community, including the work of the Mangano Family Foundation and Mangano Family Funeral Homes. Far too often we read and watch news stories about gloom and doom, so we're happy to bring you positive stories along with the foundation, providing you with helpful resources to start your day. To kick off the show, we are interviewing Sal Mangano, founder of the Mangano Family Foundation and president of Mangano Family Funeral Homes. Sal is a longtime veteran of the funeral industry. His family goes back literally generations in the business and recently started this Mangano Family Foundation, which is really doing amazing and incredible things in the local community. Sal, welcome.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
So, your family has been in the funeral home business for over, 100 years. It's really an incredible story. Talk a little bit more about how the family got into the business, about the history and where you guys started.
My great-grandfather started the funeral business in 1911 in Brooklyn, New York. He immigrated here from Italy. He worked in a factory, went to school at night to become a mortician, funeral director, and opened up a funeral home in 1911 on Union Street in South Brooklyn.
Wow. So certainly over time, things have changed in the funeral industry. So back then, were there funerals done at people's houses too? It was like totally different, right?
Correct. Funerals were mainly done in people's homes. They had to, arrange the furniture. They'd bring chairs, ferns, things like that, lights, candles actually, to people's houses, and that's where they had the wakes. The wakes were generally done in the living rooms or the parlor room of the house, and that's why eventually funeral homes became funeral parlors.
Oh, interesting. Yes. And so talk about, the family started in Brooklyn, and then how did you guys come out, and when did you come out to Long Island?
In the 1960s, my grandfather moved the funeral home from Brooklyn to Deer Park, when a lot of the residents of Brooklyn were migrating out to the island. My grandfather chose to settle down in Deer Park. From the 60s, early 1960s, yes.
And then over the course of the next, several years, you guys built a really incredible community-based business in Deer Park. And then you also has expanded since then, the funeral homes.
Correct. We expanded to Middle Island and also Riverhead.
Oh, okay.
We bought both of the funeral homes, Riverhead and Middle Island, both established funeral homes that we acquired from other families that were selling their funeral homes.
Yeah, I think the family owned and operated is such an important aspect of the funeral industry. I know over time there has been a lot of consolidation and, big kind of like larger scale national operators, acquired a lot of local funeral homes. And a lot of the times it does lose that local flair and feel and touch to it. You notice that, in terms of your business?
Absolutely. Large conglomerate funeral homes mainly bought up a lot of the funeral homes on Long Island. Back probably in the 80s and 90s, they went on a buying spree and they purchased numerous funeral homes. Some of them they still have. They still keep the original family names on them. But they do operate under an umbrella, a parent company umbrella, but they do keep the original names of the funeral homes on the signs. So people still think it's family owned, even though it's owned by a large corporation.
Gotcha. And I know your mother, Barbara, in many ways was a, pioneer in the funeral industry.
Correct.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, was she the first female funeral director?
First female funeral director in Suffolk County, yes.
Wow.
So, and she opened up the doors for many, many women. Now, basically, there's more women in the funeral business. There's more women in funeral directing school than men. So.
Wow, no kidding.
Yes.
Wow, that's an incredible legacy that she left, and she really, paved the way. And she was very, active in the local community. And I know, she certainly has, inspired you, over the years to do the same. And it's really getting involved in the local community and giving back is truly part of the fabric of the Mangano Family Funeral Homes. And really she was an inspiration in many ways of launching the Mangano Family Foundation. And so she was, talk a little bit about, Mom and her involvement in the local community.
My mother always, even from small children, she always wanted us to do whatever we could for whether it would be our school. If we, had a birthday, we had to give a certain amount of money to our school, whether it's for, a class project or something like that, a project in class. My mother always taught, always to give to the community, always give to people that are less fortunate than us. My mother was involved with numerous charities in the community. She was always she obviously donated to churches, St. Cyril's in Deer Park, St. Matthew's in Dix Hills, Mercy Soup Kitchen in Wyandanch. She was involved with the Sons and Daughters of Italy. She was involved with the Lions Club and organizations.
That's fantastic. And, you see that, kind of mirrored in all the work that you do personally. And, one of the things too is, she, has made, such an impact and, a trailblazer, and about you guys kind of giving back, and talk about, how you utilize and work with, different community groups and organizations. I know each year you team up with the Deer Park Fire Department, in the town of Babylon, and, you support Cohen's Children's Hospital. Talk a little about how that started and what the origination and genesis of that was.
Well, I saw a flyer the first year the Deer Park Fire Department was doing a toy drive. They were doing a toy drive for Cohen's Children's Hospital. And in the past, we've done Toys for Tots. We've done a toy drive for Miraculous Metal in Wyandanch. And I thought it would be great to team up with the Deer Park Fire Department, the volunteer fire department, and Chief Macaluso. And we've been partners with the toy drive for, I think this is our third year this year. And it worked out great. The community is very, very supportive of not only the toy drive, but they're bringing in, I think we filled up an entire van just from the funeral home. And then the Deer Park Fire Department filled up another entire van, going to Cohen's Children's Hospital. So there's two or three full vans going to the hospital.
Is there a young family or young man involved with that? Or?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he really is an inspiration to a lot of people.
Yes, he is.
And I know that day a lot of people were really excited about their energy, and they were very grateful and thankful.
Yes, the family was there when we arrived at the firehouse that morning, and Santa came, and Santa was there as well, and the family was very, very happy.
And I know another component to the Mangano Family Foundation is also Family Florist, which is another business that the family owns, and that's located in Deer Park. And even that day, they participated, in the events and giving
correct
some coupons and discounts to the florists to try and get people to donate to the toy drive.
Yes, we were giving anyone who donated a toy. We'd give them a $10 voucher, gift card to the flower shop, so they can use it at any time. So
that's great.
Yes,
that is great, and I love to see getting all of the different organizations and family businesses involved, to really give back to the local community, and going back to kind of like your time, working in the funeral industry. So I guess, was there any doubt, this is what you were going to do, or was there ever
I always knew when I was younger I wanted to go into I wanted to follow my grandfather, my great-grandfather, my mother's footsteps in the funeral business, and I'm a fourth-generation funeral director. And proud to be a funeral director.
So wasn't any Dr. Mangano or any...
No.
In your future?
No, sir.
Okay. So when did you start? I'm curious, because you hear a lot about, multi-generational businesses and, kind of working in the business as, a youth. Did you work there as a teenager or helping out, with different funerals, or cleaning up the place? Or
cleaning up, shoveling snow in the winter, obviously, cleaning up in the summer outside, sweeping the parking lots. doing things like that.
Gotcha.
Started when I was younger, general maintenance around the building. And then eventually I was allowed to come inside and allowed to, fix the chairs.
There you go.
And clean up inside. So
you graduated,
yes.
From shoveling the walkway to cleaning the bathrooms.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you
yes.
go. All right.
So,
you guys, have spent, literally decades building, a community-based business in Deer Park. And as you mentioned before, you have expanded throughout Suffolk County. Riverhead and, in Tut Hill, Mangano Funeral Home. I know you came in and acquired that business, and, it's really great to see, how you truly took the values and principles from Deer Park and Brooklyn and the family dynamic and brought that out to Tut Hill Mangano Funeral Home. And I know you recently, in this past holiday season, teamed up with Toys for Tots and
Correct.
Island Harvest, supporting their mobile food pantry.
Correct.
Talk a little about what it's like to operate a business in Riverhead and downtown Riverhead and your experiences there.
Downtown Riverhead's a booming, very vibrant community. It's a great community. It's a walking community. It's nice. It's an old-fashioned community. Everyone knows your name. It's the families there are great. Everyone to work with there is nice. The shop owners are nice. It's a great area. A lot of nice restaurants, things like that.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Yeah, and I know. So this year you did Toys for Tots, and again you had a wildly successful toy drive. And I know that Toys for Tots, supporting the U.S. Marine Corps and their mission to provide toys for kids during Christmas is so important. And I heard from them this year that actually donations, believe it or not, went down this year overall. So they were very appreciative, I know, of organizations and businesses like yours that stepped up and were able to provide, toys. So is supporting veterans causes, that's another important area for you?
Absolutely. We're the greatest country in the world because of our veterans. So we have to always give back to our veterans.
Yeah, and Riverhead, it's such a, wonderful community and such great people. And like you said, really on the upswing there with their downtown revitalization efforts, and, the government officials and local officials do, such a great job there. Something also too, in addition to Riverhead, I know you mentioned Middle Island. It's another area in the town of Brookhaven that you guys acquired a funeral home for.
Correct.
Talk to me a little about, that area and that community. And
the community is a great community as well. We're the only funeral home in Middle Island, in the Middle Island area. We're right on Middle Country Road. There's a lot of, condo complexes there. A lot of people moved from areas such as Deer Park, North Babylon, moved to Leisure Village, Leisure Knolls, Leisure Glen. So a lot of our friends and neighbors from Deer Park were moving out that way as well. So it kind of was a perfect fit when we purchased. We purchased the funeral home. Originally it was called Giove Funeral Home in Middle Island. Gotcha.
Got to stick with the Italian theme with the names. I gotcha. Okay. So yeah, so Middle Island is another wonderful community, and I'm just curious. About the funeral home industry. Talk to me a little bit about some best practices, right? As family, or as planning, as you're kind of going through elder planning and estate planning and things along those lines. Pre-planning funerals, how does that work, and
Correct.
What are the steps involved there?
Well, as you said, pre-planning is probably the best thing you can do for your family. All your wishes will be written down. All your wishes, you could just pre-plan, or you could also pre-fund your funeral. So with pre-planning, basically all your wishes are written down. We have them, we'll hold on to them. With pre-funding, we participate in a plan with the New York State Funeral Directors Association. It's called the New York State Pre-Plan. And 100% of your monies go into an FDIC insured account with the New York State Funeral Directors Association. And how the account works is the accounts do gain interest, and the interest goes to offset future expenses. So with us, we guarantee our funeral home charges. And so how that works is, the interest in the account goes to offset, future rises in inflation with inflation.
And do you pay that all at one time, or do you contribute to it over time?
You could pay it all off at one time. Many people do that when they have to pre-fund their funeral if they're going into a nursing home. If they need an irrevocable account, then they would pretty much pre-fund it all at once. Otherwise, if you're just pre-funding it a little bit at a time, you could just pay the funeral home a little bit at a time, and then we'll send the money right to Albany, New York State, Funeral Directors Association.
Oh, okay. That's
Yes.
interesting. And, same thing, in terms of pre-planning a funeral, it's the same thing if, somebody's wishes are a cremation, it's the same type of thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You could pre-fund a cremation, pre-plan a cremation. Absolutely. There is something in the funeral business that is probably the best advice I can give yourself or anyone listening. In New York State, there's a form called the New York State Agent Form, which the agent form, you could decide on who you designate to handle your funeral for you. In the past, it was, your spouse. If your spouse wasn't alive or you didn't have a spouse, it would be your children or your parents or something like that. But now, as an agent, you could have anyone as your agent. You could, if you wanted to, you could have your postman as your agent, or your radio show host could be the agent as well. So,
is that part of? Should that be part of kind of your estate planning, or is that something separate, or usually it's part of it? Or
you could do it with estate planning, or you could even do it with your funeral planning. When you come in to sit with us to make a pre-plan, we have everyone sign an agent form. We give it to them, and we just ask for a copy, so we have it on file, and they keep it on file, and they give it to the person who's their agent, and then you could have a successor as well, a successor agent, in case your first agent is not available at the time. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. So pre-planning, and how does somebody typically do that? Do they just call and make an appointment, or?
Absolutely. Yeah, just call, make an appointment. We could either meet with you at your home, or we could meet with you if you wanted to meet at a library or something like that, or we could even come into a funeral home. Most of the pre-arrangements are done at the funeral home. However, some people would rather us come to their house or something like that.
I think it gives people kind of peace of mind too, right? They just know this is their wishes, and not going to, who knows what happens afterwards, right? But at least it'll be kind of laid out and, kind of how they want it to be.
Absolutely. And they do it for their kids or their spouse, so they don't have to worry about it at the time. It eliminates, second guessing. Your kids second guessing, did mom want to be cremated or mom wanted to be buried? I don't know, she mentioned it once that she would just want to be cremated, but another time she mentioned that she wanted to be buried with her parents or something.
Oh, yeah, that's those.
So
very true. Things can also change over time.
Absolutely. People, obviously, there's the trend is going towards cremation. A lot more people are being cremated because people aren't staying in Suffolk County anymore. They're not, after mom had 4 kids. 3 of the kids moved to Florida, who moved to the Carolinas, and who moved to California. So sometimes, instead of burying mom in the family grave at one of the cemeteries, local cemeteries, they decide to have mom cremated, so they don't have to feel bad if nobody visits the grave anymore.
Gotcha. Oh, interesting. And so, if anybody's interested in understanding the process more, or the New York State form, they call Mangano Family Funeral Home, or they can send you an email. Do they call and say, I want to speak to Sal Mangano himself? Will they get you on the phone?
Absolutely, they will, yes.
Ah, okay.
Call 1-800-CREMATION in the state of New York, and it comes to Mangano Funeral Home, and ask for myself, and I'll be more than happy to meet with anyone if they have any questions. Anyone just has anything at all, any questions that need to be answered, any advice, I'm here.
And, a question, also when it comes to, cemetery and burial, are those plots typically purchased in advance? Are they available? Is there I know that
they're all available. Some larger cemeteries, such as St. Charles or Pine Lawn, they do offer interest-free financing if you purchase a cemetery plot with them. So you'll have time to pay it off, which most people do. Most people would pay it off over time, and it's interest-free. And that's another great pre-planning tool. You save, basically you're saving money, and you're also, saving stress from your family at the time.
And are you able to help coordinate all of that, or introduce them to the right people?
Absolutely, I can give them the number, phone numbers to who we recommend to speak with at the cemeteries. Absolutely.
And in terms of the actual services themselves, when you go to a wake and you see whether it be veterans groups or different services and memorial services that take place, is that something that you guys also help set up as well?
Absolutely, yes. Well, if Dad was in a veterans group or a fraternal organization, obviously we work with the veterans group or the fraternal organization, and we set a time for them to come in to do the service. We help them with the service. We coordinate with them and all.
Oh, you make it seamless, which is so important.
Absolutely.
And that's another thing about the Mangano Family Funeral Homes and the business, it being rooted in family. And I think when you have that personal touch, again, compared to like a large corporate conglomerate, it really does separate things and make things a whole lot better for people.
Thank you. Yes.
Bringing it back to the Mangano Family Foundation and all the work that you do in the local community, giving back to the youth and, putting together scholarship programs is something that has really been an important part of your focus.
Absolutely.
And I know, this year, it's going to be looking to expand, to kind of all three communities, Middle Island, Deer Park, and Riverhead. Yes. And talk a little bit about the scholarship, kind of how it originated and, what are the steps and how does is it for the fire departments? Is it for their family member? Talk a little about kind of how that works and what we could expect.
So we started our fire department scholarship in our Middle Island location for the members of the Longwood community. The Longwood community, which embraces Gordon Heights, Coram, Middle Island, Yaphank, and Ridge. So that's basically all that encompasses the Longwood School District. So there's 5 different fire departments there. So we have a scholarship for each of the 5 fire departments, and the only one main requirement is a family member or the student has to be part of one of the fire departments, and the chief and whoever the chief nominates to help him select the recipient of the scholarship would then get the scholarship. So we've been doing this for probably 15 years now.
Wow.
13 years in the Longwood community. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah. And now
we should do a Where Are They Now?
Exactly.
Oh, that would be interesting.
So and then this year we're going to also do that for Deer Park, North Babylon, and also Dix Hills Fire Departments as well. And then next year we're going to be working on bringing this out to Riverhead, this program to Riverhead, the Riverhead Fire Department.
Oh, that is great. Yeah, I mean, our fire departments, our first responders, just invaluable, to the local community. Absolutely. And it's great to see that you guys are, giving back and supporting that through the Mangano Family Funeral Homes and the Mangano Family Foundation. That is wonderful. You mentioned earlier, getting involved in the churches and giving back to the churches. And, you guys are really, rooted very deeply in the local, church communities. And I know you've supported churches, Ukrainian Church in Riverhead and, St. Cyril's and St. Matthew's and Deer Park and Dix Hills and churches in the town of Brookhaven. So talk to me a little bit about your relationship with the churches and, how you're looking to continue to support them in the community.
Absolutely. We sponsor probably 8 or 10 church calendars throughout Suffolk County. The Christmas calendars that they put out, for Christmas time. I've personally been a coach at two different churches for the CYO program.
Really?
Yes, St. Matthew's in Dix Hills and also St. Cyril's in Deer Park.
What sport was that? Basketball?
Wow. Yes. And I was a board member of the CYO board in Dix Hills.
And is that where you got the nickname Dr. Sal from?
So, and I am currently on the board of directors of the Suffolk County PAL, Police Athletic League.
Oh, they do a fantastic job. That's great that you're involved with them.
Yes. It's a great organization, for our youth.
And talk to me, a little bit about, if I'm I'm a high school student or I'm mentoring college and, I'm really intrigued with the funeral industry. What steps do I need to take? How does somebody become, a funeral director? Like, what do you do? How do you get involved?
I would suggest, if there's someone really wants to become a funeral director, I would suggest they call a funeral home, get a part-time job at the funeral home to see if they actually like it before they enroll in school. They would be, watching the door, helping out in between wakes, setting up chairs, cleaning up the funeral home. Watching, assisting on funerals, being a pallbearer, and to see if they actually like the funeral business before they go to school, before they commit to school.
Have you had people say, I want to do this and go to school and then realize, oh, this isn't for me?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They don't know. It's not a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 job. The funeral business is a 24-hour day, 7-day week, 365-day a year commitment to your community. So,
that's a good point. So, first step, try and get a part-time job in a local funeral home.
Correct.
Learn the business, see what it's all about.
Correct.
And then, from there, if you say, this is for me, look to potentially enroll in a program. And then do you have to do some type of residency? It's a... Correct.
So after you do all the schoolwork, you have to take a national board exam. And then after you pass the arts and sciences of the national board, there's 2 different tests you have to take. Then you have to do a year residency at a local funeral home. And then after that, after your residency is almost over, you have to take a New York State law exam. And then once you pass the law exam and finish your residency, then you become a licensed funeral director.
Wow.
Yes.
And how many employees do you have across all of your funeral homes?
Across all the funeral homes, we probably have close to 25 employees.
Okay.
So.
And then you have directors at each location? Or?
Correct. We have directors at all 3 of our locations every day. And then we have, support staff as well. Great. At all the locations.
And so again, if I want to call and make a pre-planned, funeral, I'm doing that by calling one of the local funeral homes or going to manganofh.com, which is the company's website, looking to make an online inquiry, or make a phone call, and I can get either Sal directly, or I can get one of the funeral directors to answer my questions or help me out.
Absolutely. Whatever questions you have, whatever questions anyone needs answered, we just please give us a call, and we'll be more than happy to help.
And the Mangano Family Foundation, I know, is, involved in so many different community organizations and charities. And, this year, I know there's so much that's already taking place and continuing to take place. And even, a variety of different holidays, the foundation looks to get involved and support and kind of give that extra special, push to the local community. Oftentimes people don't realize that, families who are, maybe facing economic hardship, a little bit by, giving a little extra, goes a long way. So even on Valentine's Day, I know the funeral homes and the foundation supported local senior centers and gave lottery tickets out to the local residents. And it's just a really tremendous thing that you guys do. Any other, kind of support that you're looking to give this year? Any other groups? Veterans, I know you said was very important to you. And
absolutely, veterans groups. We try to see whatever our community needs, and we try to be there to help our community whenever the community needs us.
Yeah, no, that is fantastic. And one more parting thing. So if people are looking to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of the funeral homes and Sal and the foundation? Where could they go to do that?
As you mentioned previously, you could go on our website, which is manganofh.com, or you could call our main office, which is 631-586-3600.
Sal, thank you very much. This was the Mangano Family Foundation show, Doing Good. And again, this program is dedicated to highlighting positive stories in the community, including the work of the Mangano Family Foundation, the Mangano Family Funeral Homes. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Look forward to hearing from you next time.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.